A warm welcome to the second season of our Supply Chain Leadership Bulletin from beautiful Hamburg. I hope you're all healthy and secure out there. So today I'm talking to Jan Huisman. Jan Huisman is Senior Vice President of Landmark Global for Asia. Landmark Global is a bpost company. Before he worked for nearly 6 years with eBay Enterprise and Radial, which were then taken over by bpost. Jan is a true insider of the global international e-com market, both for distribution and fulfillment. So yeah, I'm happy to have you, Jan. Thanks for participating in this interview. First question, of course, Jan. So how are you? How are your family? How did you come through this crisis?
Yeah, thank you, Carsten, for the opportunity to speak to you today. Yeah, thank you. My family and myself are okay. Well, I'm in Hong Kong, and my family is mainly in Belgium and the Netherlands. Everybody is healthy, so that's the most important thing in this situation, right? Mm-hmm. So Hong Kong, indeed, like you were saying, is somehow different than the situation in Europe. So far in Hong Kong, we had approximately 1,200 infected and 7 people, unfortunately, lost their lives during the coronavirus. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons what we do different here in Hong Kong, because it's a big city, 8 million people on one island, so it's very dense. But one thing what we definitely do different is the Hong Kong people are very disciplined. So we wear masks, we keep distance, we wash our hands in the office, coming at home. So the discipline of the people, also in relation to the SARS virus they had in the early 2000s. So they do have the experience of a virus of this kind. And if you look at the facts and figures, then luckily Hong Kong is doing extremely well so far. Even we have not done home office. So as of February, we've been working in the office. MTR, the metro, has been functioning. Restaurants have been open. So actually, life has been relatively as usual since in early February the COVID virus started in China and in Asia.
It's really interesting because such a city, such a mega city with this density you mentioned, and in these few cases, it's incredible if you compare it to other parts of the world. So when you say that actually life continued, there were no shutdowns like this, how did it affect your business then? And actually, maybe you can say just one sentence about Landmark's activities in Asia.
Yeah. So what Landmark Global, which is a trade name of bpost, doing in Asia, is supporting the e-commerce platforms. The main ones is like AliExpress, Wish, eBay, and Amazon, transporting their goods, which are bought mainly by European consumers. So if you buy something from Wish, then all those goods are still in China, and they have to be transported to your private address at your house in Hamburg, I guess. So and bpost Landmark, we are supporting the platforms and the Chinese consolidators, transport companies, by transporting those goods and then doing the last mile distribution in Europe. Okay. So how did the COVID virus affect the Landmark Global bpost business? Actually, what we have seen is no decrease, but we've seen an enormous increase in our business. So despite the fact that after Chinese New Year, which was the end of January, the virus was spreading in China, was spreading in Hong Kong, and for mostly 4 to 6 weeks, all China was locked down, right? So we didn't see any shipments, any movements from China via Hong Kong into Europe. But then in March, when slowly warehouse and fulfillment centers opened again in China and goods were picked and packed and shipped, we saw a huge increase in volumes. And actually, the most interesting part was that because of the airline capacity, which was very low, increased in air freight rates, our clients started to using the train solution. So we've seen a decrease in air freight. Yeah, we've seen a huge increase in train volumes. So you have trains leaving from Chengdu via Kazakhstan to Duisburg and to Liège, and where in the past there were like 800 trains in 6 months, yeah, leaving China into Europe. Currently, that has tripled. So, because of the lack of capacity in air freight and the high cost in air freight, the platforms and consolidators decided to use the train. And we, as bpost, have really picked up that particular volume.
What is for the audience? What is the lead time difference between air and train?
Yeah, so
really in general.
Yeah, good question. So let's say roughly, air freight is 2 to 3 days, and a train leaving from China to Duisburg is roughly 15 to 17 days. And if you then have sea freight, that's, let's say, roughly 30 days, right? So the train solution is in the middle of air and sea freight.
And is this because as we discussed, I'm always looking for the positives. So would you say that this is a very positive outcome for you, or in general, that this train connection is used far more than in the past? Or do you have?
Yeah,
I think from an environmental perspective, it should be better. And are there other innovations or positive things you take out of this situation, except from increasing revenue, which is a speciality in e-commerce and distribution and logistics for this segment? Yeah. So what are your positive takeaways?
In general, I think the relationship with your office and your staff, as well in Beijing, as well in Hong Kong, as well in Singapore, that's where we have our offices, is getting much closer. People are concerned about their health, about their families. So definitely the social aspect, which I think is also important if we make many hours in our offices, is very important. So definitely there is a closer connection between your staff and myself, or the managers, let's say it that way. But definitely coming back to this train solution, this looks like to become a sustainable new product line into the e-commerce distribution. Air freight, train, sea freight, if they want to store goods into Europe. But the train solution definitely will be a new service what can be chosen by consumers if they buy something from AliExpress, from eBay, or from Wish.
Very nice. So you mentioned that you got closer to your people. So there's the connection was getting more intense, which is very positive, definitely. How have you been leading through the crisis so far? So what element of leadership you think was and is most important for a successful reaction on this crisis?
Also, office life was mainly as usual. Although people are very concerned here and very disciplined. So definitely I had to listen very carefully to the concerns of people. In other words, if we agree to wear masks in meeting rooms, because wearing masks is actually the key thing what's happening in Hong Kong. If I walk on the street, if I am in the underground, 90.9%, 99.9% is wearing masks. So everybody is very focused on masks. So if we agree that we wear a mask in a meeting room because we don't want to be too close to each other, then it's very important that people adapt that discipline. So even if certain people may think, hey, I think it's not very useful, still the discipline and thinking about other feelings and concerns is you have to wear a mask.
So let's say coming to the end of our interview, is there any personal message? I mean, you experienced something which is so different. What you said from Europe to Asia is there something like a personal message from your Hong Kong perspective or Asian perspective towards Europe?
Yeah, I definitely would. A personal message, actually, two things is try to keep the discipline in your personal life until the moment this situation has really become under control, right? Even if borders are now open in Europe, people are going to travel, are going to relax a little bit more. But what I've seen in Hong Kong, that if you keep the discipline, then we don't see a huge number of infected and people who are dying on this particular virus. That's one. And secondly, from a personal point of view, as I cannot travel, I can travel outside Hong Kong to the Netherlands or to Belgium or to Germany. But if I want to come back, I have to stay 2 weeks in my flat, right? I'm getting an electronic band and I really cannot escape. So it's very frustrating for me to not be able to go to your family and come back very easily. So my personal message definitely is stay positive. You know, we're all healthy and that's most important in life. And all the other things, not going to a restaurant or keeping social distance, not going to a cinema, is actually less important than our health. That's my personal message, Carsten.
Yeah, thank you very much for this positive summary and message. It was a real pleasure to hear from the Asian Hong Kong perspective. And yeah, thank you very much for participating, and enjoy the rest of the day in Hong Kong. Thanks, Jan.
Thank you very much, Carsten. Talk to you later.